right here on Facebook in Facebook land live stream. Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening from wherever you are at. Thank you for being here with us. We are having just a little bit of a technical difficulty bringing Minnie Kansman, my co-host, in. And so we're going to be working on this live. Of course. Hang on. There we go. And I'm going to take that off. There. All right. So Minnie's working on her video to be able to, so you guys can see her. And so hopefully she'll be joining us shortly. We tested this out the other day and we finally got it to work. And so now it's not working again. I don't know what the deal is, but Minnie will join us as soon as she can. If not by video, she'll be here by phone. And I'll make sure my phone is charged up. Spirit of place is what we're talking about today. Deborah's here. Hello, Deborah. Good to have you here. And you know what? What we should do is share out the show, huh? Hang on. I'm going to grab my phone and we're going to get to the pages. And got to find the live stream. Yeah, we worked on this. I think it was Sunday. Here we are. And I'm just going to share it over to send it over to my news feed. Okay, I'll get that posted. Minnie's watching. And we're going to send it over to the groups as well. And we're going to there we go. And we're going to make sure that I hit the right ones here. There we go. There. I think we did that. Okay, so Minnie, she's watching. Hopefully she can hear me. I don't see her coming back in. All right. Technology's grand when it works. It really is. Okay, here she is. She's letting us know she's restarting her computer, her laptop, and then she'll be in the lobby soon. Okay, no problem. We're hanging in here. We're going to be doing a little technical stuff going on too. So in the background, and yeah, I just learned something pretty brand new the other day, and I've been trying to get it to work. Let's see if it'll work for me. Here we are. Going to edit the post. It's working. I don't know why it works for some and not for others. There. Yay. We're going to save that. All right. There we go. Yay, it worked. I love it when a plan comes together. All right, so there's something new that I learned on Facebook, and that is we can actually put underneath the video, the live stream video, feature one of our groups, our closed groups. And so I have the live stream shows closed group connected to this live stream now, which is yay. I tried doing that with my own show. I couldn't get it done. So, all right. So we're talking about spirit of place for nature adventures today. And one of the things that Minnie and I, we were having a discussion about what to do for our show this month. And we realized that there's certain places that we enjoy going or that we're drawn to, right, to experience. And both Minnie and I, we both love to travel, like to go to new places. We like to go back to places we've already been before so we can spend some more time there, right? Does anybody else do that, right? There's certain places that we're drawn to. And when Minnie and I were talking about it, we were saying, what is it for you? Why are you drawn to certain places and not others, right? For instance, I am very drawn to Ireland, but not so much Machu Picchu, right? Why is that? And I've never been to Machu Picchu. I've only seen lots of pictures, but I've never actually been drawn to go with a group to go there, right? Been to Ireland several times, multiple times. And I have great pictures and experiences there. And the places that I've been, the spiritual places I've been, and even those places that you might not think as spiritual, I've always had some sort of experience there as being spiritual. I know, right? And so that's why we wanted to do this particular show with you today, because we believe that as spiritual beings, we're called to certain places. And when we hear the call, we listen to that call. Okay, Minnie, I got you in the lobby, but I don't have your video. So your box is there, but I don't see you. On to all that. I could try refreshing my screen. I'm going to try that, okay? All right, guys. I'll be right back, okay? Not going to be gone too far. And Minnie actually has really good internet now, too. I don't know what more we can do, Min. I think I'm going to give you a call, so at least we have your voice, okay? And so at least we can bring you on that way. Ringing Minnie.
Hello?
Hi. Okay, you got to turn off your turn down your sound on your computer.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah. So it doesn't get all squelchy. And we don't have the echo going on in the background. Okay? Oh, it's still there. Okay, I think we got it. Nope, we don't.
Okay, got it off.
Okay, got it?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can. Now we'll do a check here for our audience to see if they can hear you. So anyway, Minnie, I was just explaining to our audience about how we even got to the topic, and that was about being drawn to certain places, hearing that call or feeling that call, and being drawn to certain places to go, and that both you and I love to travel, and so we've listened to the call, but we've also gone back to certain places to experience it again or in a deeper way. Right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. And so I'm going to bring, I have your bio picture up here.
Okay. Well, that's a nice picture. I like that.
I know. You look good in that color, green.
But dang, I did my makeup today. I look really good. But my camera says it's on too, which is weird, but it's just not talking to you. So
yeah, the one thing that we didn't check that I just realized is that little lock icon up at the top.
Oh yeah, is it?
Yeah, to make sure that your camera is allowed.
Okay, the lock thing. There we go. Camera. Yeah, it says allowed.
Oh, rats. I'm glad it is, but that would have been like one of those aha moments,
Yeah.
Rats.
Anyway, on the topic at hand, you don't have to see my face to have a nice discussion about it.
That's true. That's true. So tell us about your feelings about why we chose this particular topic.
Well, for me right now, I'm pretty much immersed in the hunt of the sacred place for our Scotland trip that I'm planning for Nature Adventures travel, September of 2020. And I have, the sacred places that I want to go back to, like you talked about, because I didn't have enough time there. Last time I was there, not really understanding how strong the spirit was in that place, that we didn't have as much time. And now it's like an old friend that you want to go back to and really get to know. So I have those in place, but then there's the way my trips work. Spirit fills in the gaps and fills in the holes with other places that I'm to take the group. And so I've been researching, studying, interneting, meditating with all the different sacred places that I can connect to within our connect the dots of our trip, in Scotland. So, it's a topic on my mind right now. Neshi, I guess, is the answer to your question.
Yeah. And because we like to travel, even if it's in our own hometown, our own state, our own county here, there's places that are close by that we've been to multiple times, because here in Wisconsin we have a lot of effigy mounds, and I've been to certain ones multiple times, and usually it has much more to do with the vistas, the energy that's there, and the beauty, all around it. And then there's the connection to the spirit that actually resides there. And I'm not, for me, it's even beyond the devas and the elementals. It's them, but it's also another layer or another presence that also draws me. What about you?
Yes, there are layers. As I thought about this topic, spirit of place, there are layers that make a place sacred. There's the land, there's the history of the land and what's happened there with the humans, activity on it.
Right.
And then there's me who comes in too.
Right.
So the lands, the history, and me are all creating a new experience in that moment, because we might not experience the same energy, the same feelings that when we go back to places, it may be different. And we're different. And then other ceremonies and things may have happened there since we've been there too. So a place that you might not have felt anything at, you go back 10 years later, you're a different person. Things have happened and you may feel something totally different.
Right.
So I want to ask, what makes a place sacred to you, Neshi, or what makes a place strong in spirit for you?
Yeah, that's really a good question. Because there's layers to it, I believe, in the reply. First of all, I'm usually called to go to a certain place, and sometimes I literally hear the call. Other times I feel it, right? That I need to go there. And a lot of times I don't even know why until after I get there. And so the spirit of the place is calling to me. And once I get there, many times, and it's not necessarily even what we might think would fit the definition of a sacred place, right? but I know I have to be there for some reason. And many times it's because I have an encounter with a spirit there. Whether it's the land guardian, or whether it's the house or building guardian, or maybe it is a earthbound spirit that I encounter there. And so it's all about, for me, it's all about soul growth, why I'm there. And so, like I said, a lot of times I don't even know why I'm supposed to be there until after I've been there. And, and I shared with everybody, how many times, I've been to Ireland multiple times. And every time I have another kind of spiritual experience there. It's never exactly the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And for me, it's why I travel. It's probably one of the only reasons I travel is to go and sense these places again and again, or for the first time. But for me, I get really bored with a tour that's just talking about the human history of a place. I'll tune it out. In fact, I've skipped out on many a tour guide. In Mexico, a friend of mine, we were with a tour group, and we were going through some cathedrals, and we were so bored. And we knew there was a really cool pyramid in town just a block away. And so we skipped out. We told our tour guide, that's what you need to do. Always tell your tour guide. But we skipped out and went and had an amazing experience climbing this pyramid in the middle of this town. I can't even remember what town it was, but it was why we were there. We weren't there to see this church. We were there to be with that pyramid. And I had a lot of past life flashes come from being there. So. Yeah,
definitely. Denise is saying she completely agrees. With the reason, I think she's agreeing with why we go to certain places, because we feel the call, we feel the pull to be there. Yeah, we have so many pictures. Minnie, did you want to show them?
Yeah,
which one would you like to start with?
Why don't you start with the Kauai one for me?
Okay. Oops. Yep.
It was hard to choose. Had so many beautiful experiences in so many places around the world. But this is one that I experienced before I started the travel business, even before I started taking groups. And do you have the picture up? I can't.
Yeah, it's coming. It's just
okay.
It's just a big. Okay. It's a big picture.
I'll be able to see it now. I got it.
Okay.
So this is the Nepali coast on the island of Kauai in Hawaii, and I was drawn to go to Hawaii. Well, the idea was we were going to Hawaii for our 25th wedding anniversary, my husband and I. But I have always been drawn to go to Hawaii because I heard there were nature spirits called Menehuna that lived there. And I had read about them and these little people. And there's even like written accounts of plantation owners having these small people work for them, and they were counting them, and they were in a ledger, but there's no bodies of little people on Hawaii. They've not found any bones of little people. So it's an interesting mystery and story. But anyway, so I went there, and I couldn't wait. I had to get out into the wilds by myself and just feel it and see if I could sense them. And I remember I was on this trail, and I kept hearing these twigs snap or things happen, and that, that feeling where someone's following you or watching you.
Yep.
I was being watched from all directions,
mm-hmm.
but I couldn't see anything physically.
Right.
And I was kind of a little scared and a little excited all at the same time. I remember, like, oh crap, I'm out here by myself. I could disappear. But it was exciting. I felt very much in that wildness of Kauai,
mm-hmm.
and the energy of that. And for me, the whole island is sacred. Yes. But the Nepali coastline, I feel if the Menehune are, where they'd hang out, it would be there mm-hmm. now mm-hmm. because it's the undeveloped part of the island.
Yeah.
The road around Kauai doesn't go all the way around. It stops about 3/4 of the way. Mm-hmm. And so the road doesn't connect. So there's this wild area, the Nepali coastline that you see there, yeah. that has no roads. Uh-huh. People hike in there. It takes about 3-4 days to hike wow. through it, because we looked at doing that and we didn't, but we hiked part of it. Yeah. And, sometimes people go in there and camp for a while, but it's really very, very wild. And, the cliffs are really high. It's very difficult there's places that people have not been wow. because it's so wild. Yeah. So if I was a Menehune, that's where I'd be hanging out. So
not so close to those two-leggeds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I find fascinating is that there's stories of little people across cultures.
Yes.
I find that fascinating. Here, Dennis is also saying something else here. She's saying, yes, same here, Menehune stories.
Menehune stories,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. And there's places where they've built aqueducts, the walls, and the legends are that the Menehune built them overnight, and they are the most perfectly squared built walls you've ever seen.
Wow.
And, there's all kinds of stories. And part of that wall you could still go see. So mm-hmm. there's like physical evidence, I guess, that makes it fascinating for me, of these little people stories, and then physical remains there.
Right. All right. I'm going to take that one down, and I'm going to bring up one. And it's not, I was going to do Ireland first, but I thought, no, I'm going to do Man Mound first.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Man Mound is in Sauk County, Wisconsin. It's just outside of Baraboo, just a few miles. And this is actually a county park. And Man Mound is an effigy mound, and it's a place that I used to drive to when I was in high school. And I'd take a drive after school or on a weekend or something, just trying to get away. And I'd be by myself usually, and I would go to Man Mound because it was a park. I could sit on a table there, and I'd hear mumblings, voices. And at first, like you said, it's kind of, what was that? And just kind of got used to it, But a few years ago, actually, my sister was with me. I was invited to a ceremony at Man Mound, and so I had my medicine dress, and I was going to dance around the mound, and Spirit had me dance over the mound.
Yes.
Yeah. And
it was beautiful.
Yeah. And so this mound is actually, there's not that many effigy mounds in the shape of a human. There's less than a handful here in Wisconsin. And this one happens to be, well, he's not quite intact. There's a road in the back there. Let's see if I can pull this one up There's, as you can see, there's something across the street. That's a street in the back there. It's a 2-lane county road, and long time ago, they decided they wanted to put a road through there, and so they cut right through Man Mound's legs near the knees. And his feet are on the other side of the road.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Yeah.
I think this was just awful to see it and feel it cut like that. And it was
but you know what is that when you're dowsing, the energy is still running underneath the road.
Yeah.
The energy is still there. But you know, the effigy mounds, you have to actually, they tell a story. They're part of a larger story. And you actually have to be at an elevated height, you know, like drone or airplane, or it has to be at a higher place to be able to see the story that the mounds are telling in that area. I'm going to bring up one more picture about the mounds, so that you can, the audience can kind of see what it's supposed to look like. Hang on, let me bring this one down. That's the actual mound. But I'm gonna bring up one more as soon as it loads. Here we go. Okay, this is what it's supposed to look like. As you can see, there's the head part where it looks like his head isn't completely round. He's got some sort of horns, they're thinking, there. But you know, the first time I was there and actually listening to spirit, this is actually more about extraterrestrials. And
that's exactly what I was seeing too.
Yeah. And it's very large. It's very tall. If you look at, you know, the dimensions, the legs and the torso are much longer.
Right.
Yeah, but anyway, it's about celestial mapping, and the story you really have to get the whole thing, is because he's walking in a certain direction, and he's walking, I believe, to the west. And so there's other mounds, you know, within that vicinity, a couple miles from there, and so they all kind of interconnect and tell a story. But this particular mound I've been to countless times, because every time I go, I receive a bit more understanding about it. When I danced, see, I was actually born in the hospital in Baraboo, Wisconsin, which is probably maybe 5 or 6 miles from Man Mound.
Wow.
It's in the Bluff region through there, and that's all quartz stones that are specific and indigenous to the state of Wisconsin, not found anywhere else in the world. And yeah, so it's a very that's my home, literally. There.
Yes.
Yeah. And so to do that ceremony there was very meaningful to me. And that's the first one I wanted to share, because I've been to this place, like I said, countless times. And it's this tiny little county park now that there's a house next door to it, and there's a farm across the street. And so, you know, when you drive by, if you don't know it's there, you'd miss it.
Oh, you just think it's a park.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, why couldn't they have moved the road just over? Just how many feet? 10, 12 feet?
Well, you know, the road was built like in the 1920s, right?
Yeah.
And actually the mound is about, the information that I had from years ago was like 1,300 years old. Well, I've been here for 13 years. Right? So it's over 2,000 years old.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah. And it's probably
surely the roads used to go around it. Yes, at one point.
Well, it was probably a shortcut that people were using, right? Yeah. Deb,
it was beautiful to have you dance there. I remember how grateful the land felt.
Oh, I know.
Well, we had a pretty large group.
Yeah.
If I remember, because we were circled around it, and we brought offerings, and she danced, and we each received a reading, like a special message. I remember mine was like, you're you're a magical alchemical being. And I didn't even know what that word meant, back then, but it was like, oh, cool, you can create anything you want. And it was like, all right, yes, I can.
Yeah. Deborah is saying, Man Mound is an amazing place. I was at that ceremony. I had forgotten that, Deborah.
Wow, Deborah.
Oh,
how
my
cool.
gosh. That is cool. And Denise is saying, it's such a cool place, very powerful. Yes, it is. It is.
So these ladies have been there. That's cool.
If you take your dowsing rods there, there's underground water and there's ley lines that are running across there. It's a place to learn how to dowse, really.
Right.
So much energy running through there.
Yeah, and that's what I found as I was doing a little research for this, that these energies of place, these sacred places often have that underground water, ley lines, energy faults, vortexes, springs.
Right.
Those all are why people build things on top of them.
Yes. Yes. So which picture would you like next?
Let's do the Fairy Glen in Scotland.
Okay.
So, of course, the name of this drew me to it the first time I took a group to Scotland, which was, I think that was probably about 8 or 10 years ago. And it was hard to find because it's not really on the tourist maps at all, which is a good thing because then it doesn't have a lot. But I remember I found a photo of it, and I wanted to know where this place was. So I really searched it down and found, a little marking on a map. I remember showing it to my bus driver guide at that time saying, can you get us here? And we had a very large bus, and he said, well, I don't think I can turn the bus around. There's a very narrow bridge. I don't think I can get the bus down there. But I can drop you off at the beginning of the road, and you can walk in. And that was about, not even a mile, 3/4 of a mile. And I remember saying, I don't know if I can get the group to walk that far. And he says, oh, Lord, they walk that far when they're shopping in town. They can walk. And I'm okay. So it was really pretty cool that we ended up walking in, because I could hear all the nature spirits on the sides of this little lane. I think it was paved, but it was very narrow. Would have been difficult for the bus. And there were houses back there. Sweet little cottages, but the plantings along the edges and just the moss and the flowers, it was all part of the experience for the group. Besides just going to the Fairy Glen, it was, I heard this was preparation, to get them to tune in and to wind, to really ground in. And so we walk over this sweet little stone bridge, and there are these hills, and this is called the Castle Ewan. It's the highest point there, but along the edges of this are little like hillocks that look like they have circular paths going around them, and there'll be sheep on them sometimes, but they're all conical shaped hills, and it's all this green and fern and moss. And you can it looks like something, I saw it described once, someone said it looks like something straight out of a Disney movie. Yeah. And the fairies should start dancing around at any moment. And, but we, you don't see those Disney fairies there, but you can feel and sense, again, something's watching you, something's there, but very playful, very, oh, good, another group's here for us to have fun with. And it's interesting because the stories you read about the fairies in Ireland are that they're kind of mean and cruel and like to play games. And I have never felt that there. I think they like to make fun of us and, they have a little laugh with us humans. That's why they like to hide things and such, because they like to watch us be frantic.
That's right. Run around in circles. I know.
Right. But it's not just to be mean or evil. It's all in good fun, I guess, as I hear them say.
Well, Denise is asking, is that in Skye?
Yes, I'm sorry I didn't say that. This is all on the Isle of Skye, the Fairy Glen, and there's also, you may have seen pictures of something called the Fairy Pools, and that's not at the same place as the Fairy Glen, but we are taking the group to the Fairy Pools this year as well. We're going to be doing a full forest therapy walk, nature and forest therapy walk there. And that is this magic, but with, let's add some water and some little waterfalls to it, if you can imagine. I'm super, super excited about that day as well. But these places, to me, they're full of magic. And when we can tune in, like we will be doing with the force therapy, which is all about being very mindful with your senses about where you are. I think when you do that, when you're at a spiritual place, you'll go even deeper and receive even more from the space than just reading the placard about it or hearing someone blah, blah, blah about it.
To actually take some time and not just kind of speed there, read the thing, take a couple pictures and on to the next, right? But to actually
think we're going to take pictures and then experience it later through our pictures, but experience it while you're there.
Right.
And then have the picture to remember that experience.
Yeah. Mary is saying beautiful. Denise is saying that her grandmother is from Skye.
Oh my gosh. What a beautiful place to be from.
Then come with us. Come with us on the trip.
Yes, please. It would be so much fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can't wait. So I'm taking that one down.
Okay.
And since we're talking about glens,
okay.
All right. Here's Parfrey's Glen. This is another place that I love to go. I've been many times. A couple of my students in this picture. This isn't a very old picture. If anybody has been to Parfrey's Glen, even relatively lately, this boardwalk is no longer there. They rebuilt the boardwalk, I don't know, like 3 times, and the 4th time it washed out, they said, we're not rebuilding it. So to get all the way back to the waterfalls is quite a hike, and you have to climb over rocks now and that kind of thing.
But you can't go through the water, or
well, no, not really, because I don't know if you can. I'm going to pull this up so we can get a. If you see those rocks in the background, those are rocks that had slid from, because these are sandstone walls. And and these rocks have slid from the upper. It is very birth canal womb-like experience. To walk in, I would take classes back there, and we would walk in, and we'd walk in quiet, no talking on the way in, because really from an aerial point of view, it looks like a birth canal because it's kind of narrow and you're surrounded by walls. And then as you get further back by the waterfall, it's a very small waterfall. It widens out like it's the womb. Right? And so, I would take feng shui and space clearing students back there, and we would drum. It's great acoustics for drumming.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you took your sisters back there one time, and we drummed. It was wonderful.
It's one of my favorite places to go. There's lots of fairy activity, lots of nature spirit activity back there. Even along the way, because you can feel the energy as you're walking in, and you feel great walking out. And because you're surrounded, you're right in the midst of a whole lot of negative ions.
Yes.
And so, and so when you're walking out, you're feeling light, you're feeling good. And a lot of the students would remark on that, right? Because they were tired. We'd been studying, for a week straight, and we'd go there for that weekend in between. Feng shui and space clearing, and as they were walking out, it's like, oh, I feel so much better. Yeah, but it's one of my favorite places to go. Some people here in Wisconsin. You know, there's ferns that are growing in this glen that shouldn't be growing in the state of Wisconsin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Their own little microclimate there.
Exactly. And it's, you know, and like I said, you know, it's flooded several times. And here the two-leggeds again, thinking they can put the structure back there. And yes, it made walking, hiking back there very easy. People with disabilities could get back there very easily. There's very little elevation changes, so it's kind of like a flat walk in. But when they had the boardwalks there, people with disabilities were able to get back there. And so, but anyway, it's one of my favorite places to go and to go drumming. You know, spirit of place. Lots of nature spirits in that one.
There was.
All right.
Hey.
Next.
Isle of Iona.
Okay.
Is that what you have next?
Yeah. I can. Isle of Iona.
I think there's one of me and maybe one of the nunnery. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm bringing the nunnery one up right now.
Okay.
It just takes a little bit for it to load because they're.
Well, the Isle of Iona is another one of the islands we will be visiting in the Scotland tour. And it is one of the most difficult islands to get to. You have to go through over from the mainland to the Isle of Mull, travel across the island of Mull, and get on a small boat, and then go to the Isle of Iona. And last time that I was there, our group we had maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours on this island, and I stepped foot on it, and I knew that we needed to be there much longer. And so this time we're going to be having all day. We're staying on the Isle of Mull so we can get there fast and stay as long as they'll let us stay. Is my plan. I've said I want the whole day there. And there's so much going on. But the first picture, the stone structure building there is the ruins of an ancient nunnery that was there. And that has some very, very powerful goddess energy to it. It was one of my favorite places to just hang out.
Yeah. Well, I have both pictures up, one of the nunnery and one of you.
Yeah, I see. Right. Okay. I see. And then you'll see in the background, well, first, the tree in the background, there's all of these nature elemental trees and places, and they talk to you, and very, very magical, very much a part of the sacredness of the land there. And then in the background is the chapel, the abbey that is there as well. And that abbey has its own spirit of place that's very strong. And all I wanted to do was sit in the chapel and meditate all day there. So it was so hard to only have an hour and a half, to get everything and then there's the sea. The sea, it is beautiful too, the beach and the sea. And as I've been researching more of Iona, I'm finding out there's a sacred Bridget's well there.
Oh, of course.
There's labyrinth there. There's all sorts of magical spirit of place energy to experience. And what's really nice is that it is so small. It's I think a mile across and a mile and a half wide or something. It's not a large island. Yeah. And not a lot of people come to it because it is so difficult to get to. And so there'll be people that do pilgrimages there and retreats there and spend weeks and months there. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because looking at the pictures, and I haven't been there yet, but for me, it's got quite an English kind of feeling to it, more than a Scottish feeling.
I don't know, Neshi. It has its own feeling. Yeah. It's really hard to say what. And it's so much about the land too.
Yeah.
Of what the land was even before those buildings were placed there.
That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going.
Okay.
Yeah. Because if I'm looking at the here, I'm going to bring this one up. Okay. You know, I'm noticing it doesn't have a roof, right? And it would have been a thatched roof. Right. And so one of the things, one of our bus drivers in the last tour I was with you on over in Wales and Ireland and Glastonbury, is that Patrick, I think, Paddy is his name.
Yes.
Our bus driver. He was the one that was telling us that that when the King of England had separated from the Catholic Church and started their own church, Church of England, everybody, the indigenous people from the different islands were converted to Catholicism or Papists. And when the king decided that they were no longer going to be Papists, they had to be at the Church of England. That, what was the guy's name? Cronin?
Forget his name. I want to say Cromwell. But
you're right, Cromwell. That's it.
Okay.
He was the enforcer of that, and so what they did is they would burn the rows of the churches, of the Catholic churches, so that the congregation they couldn't worship there.
Because it rains so much there, you need a roof. You know?
And so they were forced, if they were going to remain Papists, which was outlawed. They would have to do it in secret.
Right.
And so, whenever I see a structure like this now, it reminds me of the story that he was telling us. And so, yeah, Cromwell. Yeah. Thank you, Denny. See, she said Cromwell. Thank you.
Yeah.
And here's Deborah saying something about Parfreeze Glen. She said, we went there many times as kids. My parents took us places that were free. We had 12 kids in our family, and we went on the cheap. Amazing experiences. Yep. And my husband's Scottish ancestors once owned land adjacent to it.
Oh, wow.
Really? That's really fascinating. Okay. And she also says, very magical place. I've gone there a few times as an adult. Let's drum there sometime soon. I would love to go there and drum, of course. Road trip.
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, that's I can't wait to see
Island. I can't wait to take you there, Neshi. I can't wait. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to take those pictures down. Whoops. Take those down. There we go. I didn't want to do what I wanted it to do. Imagine that. Okay. Next. Let's see. I've got this one. A place I've been several times.
I don't know what this one's going to be. So
it's actually, you've been there.
I'm excited. Okay. I've been there. Good.
Yep. Lough Crew.
Oh.
Lough Crew.
Of course.
Ireland. Yeah. One of the cairns. Very ancient. I've been there several times. Just on the other side, on the right-hand side, just on the back side there, is the Hagstone chair. It's huge. It's a huge wooden or stone bench. It's huge. The crone would sit there, and it's facing the north, and get information and visit with spirit there. And the story goes is that to get up to this place, you have to walk in, and the walk in is you're led by the oldest woman in your group. And you have to walk at her pace behind her. So it could take, depending on how old that oldest woman is, it could take you a little while to get up there. And you go in quiet. And the first place that you stop is at the Hagstone chair. And that oldest woman is then helped up to sit on this huge, giant stone bench. And the rest of us, what we do is we connect to the land, and we bring her a stone, pebble stone, and we wait in line. We hand it to her, and she gives us a blessing. And if she has a message that comes through for an individual, then she'll share that with you. But that is something that I learned from Amantha Murphy, and that was the first time I'd ever been there, was with Amantha. And yeah, and so it's one of my favorite places to go. On the inside of it is gorgeous with pictures, ancient drawings on the inside. Yeah.
It was really amazing the day we went up there.
Yeah.
And our walk up, because if you remember, it was raining when we started.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so we all have our raincoats on and our hoods, and we're quiet anyway. And because we were honoring that. And then as probably halfway up, I remember it cleared and still cloudy. And then we're walking up, and you can see the clouds even opening up more. And this photo was from when our group went, I think. And the Hags chair piece, the oldest one in our group, we didn't tell her about this until the day before because she, we didn't want her worrying about, oh my gosh, I'm not a psychic, I don't know how to read messages, whatever. But she agreed to do it, and she was pretty healthy. We didn't go that slow up that hill. But remember, there were some that were going slower than her.
Yep. I know, because I was walking with her. She had a pretty good pace going up that hill.
Yeah, she was going, and then the guys in her group lifted her up, and that little lady lifted her up in that chair. It was so honoring to see them do that with her. And then something took over her, and she went, and she just did everything and more, that we thought would happen there. Her readings were amazing, and I'm sure that was a very life-changing experience for her. She talked about it as being very, very empowering for her. Yeah. And to be honored, to honor the elder, something our culture doesn't do a good job of.
Yeah, not
you could
very
do better. And that was really, and it was nice for us to all see an elder being honored, not just her.
Right.
I love that ceremony so much.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite places to go. I mean, everybody likes to go to Newgrange, and I do like Newgrange as well. It's this one is it's out of the way. You have to actually walk a bit to get there. So
yeah, and just even driving, I remember I'm talking with the bus driver on that one. He's like, Minnie, they say if the grass grows between the tracks, I shouldn't take the bus down there. And the road had started to do that. And I assured him that I had looked at the satellite and said, there's parking lot there. I know there's parking lot there that you'll be able to turn, because they're always afraid they can't turn around.
Right.
And so that, we'll get you out of here. And we did. But so again, these harder to get to places, it's not as commercialized. It didn't cost us anything. We just had to find the person with the key to open the gate if we wanted to go inside the car.
Right.
But
right. Well, I have one more.
Yes.
One more. All right. And this is this is from New Mexico, Albuquerque. I don't know. I've told this story a couple of times, so if you've heard it, sorry to repeat it, but it actually started a few years ago. Paul and I were at a supper club on a Friday evening after work, and we were waiting for our table, sitting in the bar area, and we're just chatting, going over what happened that week and that day. And it was like somebody came and stood right in between us and said to me, Albuquerque. And I ignored it. And then they said it very loudly, Albuquerque. And I turned and I looked at Paul and I said, did you hear that? And he said, now what'd you hear? All right. So Yeah. And and he's teasing me, he goes, you can't go there unless you know how to spell it. Well, I didn't know that that was a bar drinking thing. And I'm asking people, he spelled Albuquerque. That was before Google. Okay.
Right.
All right. So what happened was that it took me a few years. That might have been like early 2000s, something like that, maybe 2003, something like that. And we moved up here to Toma in 2006. And it was in 2006 I made the decision, I'm going to New Mexico, because I could feel it. And there was things about New Mexico all over the place, commercials and songs and, advertisements and that kind of thing. And so I told Paul, I said, I'm going. And Sandra Ingerman lives in Santa Fe. And so I was going to go and experience her as a teacher, but get to Albuquerque first and then drive the Turquoise Trail up to Santa Fe. And Deb Swinghome, I was sharing it with her, and she goes, well, I'm coming. And she had friends that lived in Albuquerque. And so they were taking us around. We went to Chaco Canyon and that sort of thing too. But anyway, what happened was the husband of her friend said, well, I want to take you where we can see some petroglyphs. And I'm going to take you to a place that a lot of tourists don't get to. I'm going, yay, let's go. It was quite a hike in. And in fact, halfway through, I'm going, I don't know if I'm really up to this, but I had no idea why. And I think that was really the very first time I ever walked through a vortex too. It's like, what was that? So anyway, this petroglyph is of a female shaman. And it is in the very, very far back part of this petroglyph park. I think that's what they called it. Just outside of the city limits of Albuquerque. And it's quite a hike in. And it's in the very, very, very far back of it. And so Deb and I are taking pictures of this. And this is the very first time I'd ever seen a petroglyph of a female medicine person. So I'm taking the picture and I'm standing, and I'm feeling the energy, right? And I hear, turn around. So I turned around. And what I was looking at was the city of Albuquerque. And it was quite a ways away, but it was it kind of flattened out through there. And again, it was like a birth canal. And this woman was depicted in the very, very far back of the womb area. And as soon as I made that connection, then I could hear rattles and drumming, and I realized in that moment, that's why I had to come to Albuquerque, is to experience her and to experience that place.
Wow.
Yeah. It took me a while to get there, but I got there.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I've used her picture a few times on a couple of different things. And every time I do, it takes me back to how she told me, turn around and look. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Spirit of place.
Beautiful.
Spirit of place. Beautiful. Here. I'm going to do one of these so everybody can take a look at her.
Yeah.
We're at the top of the hour. Man, even her picture. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what she's holding, like, what is she holding?
In both hands,
so
right?
Cool.
Well, the one, as we're looking at it straight on, the one that would be on our right-hand side, literally goes from the top of the picture all the way down to by her feet.
Right.
So is that the connection of heaven and earth?
Yeah.
Right? And whatever she's holding in her other hand is only connected to the sky.
Right. So the other one's like a staff.
Or something.
And what's on her head, too?
I know. right?
Yeah.
Could be.
And it almost reminds me of the effigy mound.
I was just going to say, we could be looking at a celestial being here.
Yeah, because but it's got a dress on, so we know it's a girl. Is that it? This is great.
Yeah.
They wanted you to know,
and it's in New Mexico, the indigenous people there, they're the ones with the Kachina dolls.
Right.
Yeah. So Dennis, I'm so glad you're here, Dennis, because some Wisconsin people in the house tonight.
I know.
And so
it's great.
Yeah, she says, love that picture. I know. So Minnie, what would you like to share with our audience as parting words?
Well, I just got a book called Powerful Places in Scotland. Just came in the mail yesterday. And as I looked through it, I realized we are going to 6 of the places in this book in September. So if you want to go to some Spirits of Place, please come along on my Nature Adventures trip. It's September 14th through the 26th. You can go to my website, minniekansman.com. And I have put some more descriptive itinerary up. So now you can read a little bit more about the places that we'll be going. One of the other places one of the strong places I talk about in this book is the Colonish Stone Circle. And that's on the Isle of Lewis. So we're doing a lot of island hopping on this trip because that's where it seems like these places are located. I'm super excited. I'd love to have you join us. I've got about a space for about 7 more people. So
yay.
Come on board.
Yeah. Come with us. That's going to be good. I still need to send you a little moolah.
Yeah, I'm taking deposits, just $500 deposits now.
Yeah, I got to get you mine yet. So my parting words is, whenever you have that feeling of being called, maybe you even literally hear it, you feel it in your solar plexus, you feel it in your heart, is answer the call and go, because you're being called to for a reason, and go find out what it is Spirit wants to show you in that particular place. Yeah.
Right. And you can't put a price on that, on those experiences. You can't put a price on them. So I would say, you can buy a physical material item, or you can go on a sacred journey.
Yes.
And have experiences that you hold in your heart forever.
You can renovate your kitchen or parts of the kitchen, or you can go to Scotland. That's what I'm doing.
There you go. The choices we make.
Well, the kitchen will get done sooner or later. Oh my gosh. Denise is saying, so true.
Yep.
So true. All right. And then with that, Nature Adventures will be back again next month, the last Wednesday of the month at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 3 p.m. Central. And now we have to say this for Minnie, 2 p.m. Mountain Time.
Yes, that's right. Okay, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us and for listening in the archives.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. And please try to join us for Soul Connections with Polly Jola Bay at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for an evening of divine healing and messages.
Okay. Yes.
With that, Bama Mina, everybody, until we see each other again.
Goodbye.